How's everybody today? We're here to provide an update on the details of the officer-involved shooting on July 9th, 2025 in the 3000 block of Fairview Avenue. This is the fourth shooting of the year in 2025 for the Dallas Police Department. We received several 911 calls regarding a suspect, 37-year-old Jake Miller. He was acting erratically and cutting himself with knives. One call also said that he attempted to kick the door in of a residence, and a witness said that he came at her with a knife and she had to lock herself inside of a vehicle. The first officer arrived to the scene. He deployed his pepper ball gun, striking Mr. Miller. Other officers arrived on the scene. Mr. Miller was still holding two knives. I apologize. He was holding two knives. As the officers exit the vehicles, they gave loud verbal commands to Mr. Miller to stop, to drop the knives. Mr. Miller did not comply with the commands. At that point, he was hit with pepper balls again. Mr. Miller continued to walk towards officers as they retreated. The pepper balls didn't work. Officers then deployed taser. Taser did not stop Mr. Miller either. At that time, he continued to ignore the loud verbal commands, continued to walk towards the officers. Then he started charging towards one of the officers. Mr. Miller charged Officer Anthony Pargas. At that time, he fired his handgun 4 times, striking Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller fell to the ground, still holding the knife, and began trying to cut himself. The officers continued to give verbal commands. At that time, the officers were able to kick the knife out of his hand. Officers then performed emergency medical treatment to Mr. Miller. Dallas Fire and Rescue got Mr. Miller, transported him to the hospital. 2 knives were recovered on the scene. Mr. Miller then passed away. The Dallas County District Attorney Office was notified, responded, and will conduct their own investigation. The Office of Community Police Oversight was notified and has been briefed regarding this incident. To be fully transparent, the Dallas Police Department is releasing the 911 audio and body-worn camera footage to this incident.
Dallas 911, Nathan, do you need police, fire, or EMS?
Police.
Okay, to what address?
I'm at, there's a man walking that's like across the street, and he's walking back and forth with a knife in his hand. And it's like he literally, he has a shirt in his hand wrapped around one hand, and he has a knife in his other hand. And he's walking back and forth. He's looking at my neighbor's house, and there's only a woman there that I know. And he's like walking back and forth there. And then the dogs that are barking, he's walking up to them as well, but he's just standing in the driveway with a knife. He's just standing there.
Looks like we have someone on the way out. Is he
Okay.
Is it a white male with a gray t-shirt and gray pants?
Yes, and it looks like he's cutting himself. He's cutting himself.
Okay, where's
Oh
he
my
cutting
God.
himself? His arm?
It looks like he's cutting himself on his arm.
Okay. All right, we have a call for police and ambulance to go out.
Okay.
Okay, we'll update the information. They're on the way out.
Okay.
All right. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, careful. What did on the side? Drop the knife! 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 Drop the fucking knife! Drop the 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 knife! Shots fired. Fucking 1-5, shots fired.
Drop the knife! Drop the knife!
Put the knife down! Put the knife down!
Put the knife down!
To let you know, Officer Anthony Vargas has been a member of the department since January 2025. I have invited Special Investigator Lieutenant Benny Hanley to join me at the podium in case there's any questions.
Was there any indication that this suspect was experiencing a mental episode at the time?
It would appear so, yes.
And how does that play into the officer's response when they're experiencing something like this?
Well, usually when we respond to what we call a CIT, it's a 4-officer response. As you can see, it was several officers that responded. It looked like when Sergeant Ship first arrived, he was the first officer on the scene that observed Mr. Miller with the knives. He was the initial officer who deployed the pepper ball. A short time later, Officer Pargas and another officer arrived that deployed the tasers. So,
What does CIT stand for?
it's basically when we have a possible mental health call.
Toxicology report?
We're waiting on that to come back. We hadn't gotten that back
Do
yet.
you have a timeline for it?
Hopefully in the next few days.
2 questions. Was Mr. Miller known to anyone on that street, including the home that he's reported to have been kicking the door? 1.
Yes, his roommate was actually one who called, and they lived on the street.
Okay. And then 2, was Mr. Miller the subject of any other DPD investigations that might have regarded any mental health elements or anything like that?
No, we didn't have any mental health history on Mr. Miller.
Just for clarity, when you say that the woman we heard on the phone say that he was walking back and forth in front of a house that a woman occupied, is that the house we're talking about, the roommate?
No, the roommate was actually in a car on the video, and he was following the car down the street.
Okay, but he lived in that neighborhood?
Yes, he did.
Okay, and the house that he was in front of, did he know anything about that person?
No.
Chief, it was important to you to come to the neighborhood directly, right, and talk to these folks. It seemed to go a long way with them to see you there, and they have said, we'd like to see more folks out here, but why was it important to you to boots on the ground be there and help address this?
Well, one of the things that I will be committed to Dallas, that I will be a present chief. I will be wherever I'm needed to be, and that's for community events or anything that happens in the community that's good or bad, I will always be present.
As far as an officer-involved shooting goes, I mean, seconds like this count, and they're using just about every single tactic they can to try to stop him. Can you just talk about the measures that they took before those shots were fired?
Look, the officers did a phenomenal job out there. They tried to keep everyone safe. They even tried to keep Mr. Miller safe. And Mr. Miller left them no choice. Obviously, you can see from the video, he was going to harm our officers. And officers did everything they needed to do at that time, and they acted accordingly.
And this is the second time that someone has tried to, did not comply with the officer's request in a week to put their weapons down. Just tell me about, again, it highlights the dangers of the job, right?
Look, the job is definitely dangerous. We want every single officer to go home every night, but we train all of these officers. These officers go through really long, extensive training to make the right decisions, and this officer here clearly made the right decision.
Last question.
Where does the back end of that, you have all the training, but then day of, they know there will be scrutiny, they know there will be a lot to come. How do you be prepared for that emotionally, mentally? How hard is that part?
Look, it's not really easy, right? And we have a really good wellness program, and it's part of our job to make sure that our officers are mentally fit, and we will take all the time out to make sure the officers get the proper attention after an incident like this.